Hello everyone, welcome to Adventure in the Ink. Matt here with my co-host
Scott
and Mike,
and we're here to talk about Lorcana. Alright, so we Into the Inklands got released. We've all played a little bit of it. We haven't really got to go deep into it, but we all played all the game that we done messing around. So what are you guys' thoughts on this new set after actually having a chance to play it?
I think it's a great expansion. It carries the game forward. Not delving too far into the cards yet. I can't say if I'm happy with them or not yet. Still looking them over, playing with them, but from what I've seen, it's a great next step for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the fact that we have something that seems very different in the gameplay that's been added with locations. And just because it's much different than in the last set when they just added a resist, which was fun, and maybe more Floodborne triggers and things that persist. In this, it forces you to ask the question, like, how am I going to put these into my existing decks, or how am I going to make a deck around these locations? And personally, I love this, like the first 2 weeks to a month after a set comes out, when people are still brewing and you're coming up with all these new ideas of like, oh, maybe this card and this card. And or you see someone online post something and you're like, oh, I never thought of that. That's really, really cool. And yeah, how about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm really liking it that I think the starter deck, for one, was better put together than the last two. And I feel like the starter decks are much easier, well, much better competitively than the previous ones. So I feel like a new player buying these starter decks and then hopping into a multiplayer game is gonna have a lot better time than someone with the previous decks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy about that. You liking the setup, all the new color good. I like how I think like that talked about it last time, but it's really nice that a lot of the decks that they started in the first chapter are now getting more completed now with the new deck. Because when I first wanted to play, I wanted to build a Amethyst Ruby deck revolving around brooms. And now I get to. So it was so satisfying when I was building deck to actually pull out the card from the first chapter that I really wanted to play with in a deck that they just didn't really have enough support. So I'm really happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that now that we have whatever 204 times 3 is 612 different cards to choose from.
Yay, math.
Yeah, there's just so much. There's so many more options and so many more questions to ask, but also so much more inventory to sort through, which makes it a lot harder to make your decks. But just the fact that there are those, I don't know, I call them low-hanging fruit. The cards that you read it and you say, yeah, I know exactly what card I want to try pairing this with first.
Yeah.
So the new legendary Jafar, that every time you, I think he's a 7-cost inkable. We'll see how good my memory is. 4/5 evasive with shift 5, and every time that if he is exerted, every time you draw a card, you gain a lore.
Yep.
And just immediately your mind goes to, what if he sings a whole new world?
Did you remember to say that he was evasive?
Oh, yeah, I think I said evasive, 4 or 5 evasive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hard to remove, can sing a whole new world,
Yeah.
which can get you 7 lore.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even like the Prince John combo where you needed to, you needed your opponent to have, what was it, like cards in hand to discard when you cast a whole new world. This one, you're guaranteed that 7 lore if he sings it. So cards like that, or cards like the Ursula, where when she sings a song, you do the effect twice, and you can just say, oh, let's filter my cards by songs in the app, and, oh, yep, sing 2 friends on the other side sounds really good.
Yep.
Or sing to let's strike a match seems really good. So there are those kind of, those combos, I'll call them, that are just the low-hanging fruit that seem like a lot of fun, and it'll be fun to see what shakes out, like what actually sticks, what is competitive enough or fun enough. Even if, maybe it only works 1 out of 10 times, but the one time you get it is worth, the 9 times it didn't.
Yeah. So after that, we playing a little bit of locating. What do you guys feel? How do you feel about locating now after getting here to play with them?
I'm not sure yet. I'm very limited on my location play so far. I've only played the ones that came in one of the starter decks, and they were very vanilla. They didn't do anything, so I didn't really play them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had it's not a negative experience, but oh yeah experience. A learning experience as we call them. And you learn from your failures. And it was turn 3 or 2 in our starter deck game that we were all playing against each other. And I think I put out Agrabah, and both of you had 2 characters, or each of you had a character on board. And I didn't do the math that if both of them swing into my location, they can take it out. That's exactly what they did. But it was a good teaching moment for me that you can't play locations to board if somebody's just going to clear it out. I mean, it did buy me a turn, but it was the beginning turns anyway, so everyone was only going to be gaining 1 lore at a time. So it helped me to learn, at least for now, that the locations are a get further ahead if you have a slight advantage rather than a try to come back from behind card.
Yeah, and that's cooking that, like, we played locating very differently in game 2 than we played in game 1. Very much in my opinion, you hold on to the locating until you actually benefit from it, then you play it and you move everything to it that turn. So it's more important to get characters out first.
Mm-hmm.
And then even though it's later in the game and your opponent probably have more characters out, your locating are still pretty safe, or you can trigger the bonus it quickly. Like the combo we talked about before, a lot of people talked about with the Bayou and the Beat and the Tale of Nottingham, you are playing the Bayou last because that card is going to get immediately targeted and knocked out. So you play that card the turn you need it. You don't have that land that's sitting on the board trying to get low off of it. You play it for the combo. So that's real interesting. Like, and I definitely feel like now you have that. Do you go for the land or you go for the character? Like, it's interesting to see the choices, and it's going to be interesting to see how once the meta settled, how much land are we actually going to be seeing? How much locations we're actually going to be seeing in people's decks.
Yeah, it's I think there will be a balancing act. I think the best way to figure out though is to push it to the extremes. I'm always a big fan of it. I want to see someone, each color or each ink has 3 locations. So at most right now you could play 24. I want to see someone going with at least 16, maybe up to 24 locations, and just see what crazy stuff you could do.
So my guess would be a Ruby deck for turn, because right now Ruby have a lot of good locating triggered, because it have
Jim Hawkins.
Jim Hawkins, that's it.
Yep.
I should have known that one. Yeah, you have Jim Hawkins because he played the free locating and he automatically moved there. The pirate, a lot of them benefit from the locating because they have a different pirate locating.
Yeah.
Moana, what is it, Brave Captain?
Yeah. Yep. She's the one that is she's a Floodborn too, isn't she, or no?
She is a Floodborn.
Yeah.
I think
She's a
they're
4/4.
Born Leader.
Yeah, Bone Reader.
Okay.
Yeah, so when quest that locating, everyone else has a locating 10 up. So if you're gonna do a locating deck, you need Ruby right now. I think so probably Emblem Ruby. I think of the 2 that we see the most locating effect gained.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have the deck on Friday now.
I was thinking maybe you could, this is the fun brewing stage where your, locations are best when there aren't characters to challenge them. So I was thinking, what if you do a Ruby and either Emerald where you just bounce, you just remove things, and once they overrun you, you just play down a Be Prepared, and your locations are sitting there gaining 1 or 2 lore at a time. So you do something like that, or you have and I don't think that strategy would work if you had 16 to 24 locations because you just way too many in your hand. Or you do one that's like a turbo ramp, like you do a Sapphire Ruby, and you just push out to the Be Prepared quickly, and then you just continually just kill the board and let your locations live.
But also, like, I think almost all the locations are inkable. So if you are the constantly drawing locations, you can throw them to go to Inklands.
I love as soon as you said that Mike and BR, you like we immediately start looking.
Remember, folks, if you haven't
No,
downloaded the Okana
There
app,
are
So-
some of the locations are not inkable.
Yeah.
There are 3, 4,
4 uninkables.
4 uninkables.
So
yeah, but 4 out of 18 is not bad.
yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 in amber and 2 in ruby.
Oh yeah, the Ruby one though not cool. Yeah, but also the Ruby one though, like very much like you're gonna play though because one the pirate one isn't it?
They're both pirate ships.
Yeah, well,
Well,
the one that has pirate benefits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Jolly Roger. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jolly Roger is very much a good one because it gives all your characters what then pirates move there free.
Mm-hmm.
With that's why that called not inkable. And the other one,
They gain you basic while
Yeah.
at the location,
yeah, the both like you're playing those cards like those are very good locations to have.
and you pay 2 less ink to move characters there.
Yeah, so that one paired really well with Jim Hawkins because you play Jim Hawkins and you play that card for free. He already moved there. You then need to move all your characters there for one. Well, one each. And then they all have a big zip. So yeah, I think if we're gonna see a locating deck, it's probably gonna be you're definitely gonna have Ruby in it.
Yeah. I think that
With Jim Hawkins and the Moana, that you're gonna get the most out of locations from
Yeah.
those two.
the value you get out of Jim Hawkins is crazy.
Yeah.
Because he says you can play any location that costs 4 or less, which right now all of them cost 4 or less.
Yep.
So you get the most value if you play something for 4, and you move him there. So, I mean, instantly that's at least 7 ink of value. And even if moving and the locations are overpriced, 7, and let's say they're 30% overpriced, that's still like 5 free ink.
Yeah, and then
So-
also like you got the Voyage card with you pay 1 ink and you move 2 characters to the same location.
Yeah.
That's a really good card to get the characters into very offensive locations.
Yeah.
You are telling me on the deck, Mike.
I have an RLS legacy for trade, Matt. Which
Oh, Woodcock.
yeah. Yeah, and ultimately, yeah, I think they are the locations. It's interesting. It's going to be the community is going to figure out how to use them, and then somebody's going to figure out how to break them.
Yeah.
And I think that the designers were smart. They put in different ways to get rid of them. The most obvious one being the steel card. Was it Rise of the Titans? I think it's
That sounds right. It is a Titan card.
yeah, and it's the 3 cost banish an item or
Yep, by the
Yep.
Titan.
3 cost, and it's inkable, mind you.
Oh, it's inkable. It also the item that one thing I like is a lot of the cards that trigger locations also trigger your characters or items. So it makes them a lot more utility in the deck right now.
Yeah. So I think it's nice that they put that kind of card in the set, obviously, and not waiting waiting till later and realize that locations are incredibly powerful and there's nothing really to do against them.
Well, and like King one, like we talked about before, is how they doubled the set. Locations were apparently supposed to be in the game day one, but they decided to hold out on them to get people more into the game.
So are there any cards from set 1 that you think deal with locations well, even though locations weren't?
I don't think that they're called that deal with locations, but the definitely we got all the what characters do deal very well with locations
Rush,
because
yeah.
what is a good way to counter. But also like there was a lot of pirates and captains. No, there was a lot of pirates and they were called there was that pirate card that Dinadide were captains, and there's a lot of captains and pirates in it. That so I really think that there was a few cards in that one that have a lot of synergy. Like we got the brooms in that one and Torture Tower in that 3. So I definitely feel like there's a lot of cards in that one that synergize well with these lands. Like Bell Worktop. We got Bell Kinkerer in the first deck.
Yeah. I think that's the one. So Bell's House was the main name, and Maurice's Workshop is the secondary name. It's 1 cost location that's inkable. It costs 2 to move your characters there, and it has 6 willpower. And its ability is if you have a character here, you pay 1 ink less to play items. And we brought this up in other game or in other podcasts, but anytime you have something that reduces a cost, it's like you have to think, what am I getting out of this? So here it costs 3 ink, 1 to play it, 2 to move something there roughly, to get 1 off of your next item continually. So there's the incremental value you get from that, but there's also once something becomes free, it can become broken.
Yep.
So think Popsicle only costs 1. Well, now it's a 0 cost, draw a card.
And got you wasn't here, but I built an item deck, and it would basically had a wild way for me to constantly to get Popsicle back and to play it cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole deck idea was basically just like get Popsicle back in my hand, play it for free, repeat.
Yeah, what's the name of that? It's the blue, Sapphire duck. He comes on the starter deck.
Oh,
You exert him to return an item to the top of your deck.
Glenn Goot looking, I think.
Glomgold?
No, that's
No,
the
the other
challenge
one.
evasives.
The one with grafted.
Yeah, but Matt,
I thought
Friday-
it was
Gear loose?
yes,
What?
Gyro Gear Loose.
Yeah,
Gyro
Gyro
Gear.
Hero.
And Matt had him out with a couple popsicles, and by the end of the game, he had
I had half my deck
he
in
had
my
probably
hand.
about 23 cards in his hand.
Yeah. Well, like, I still
I
lost.
missed 1 week.
I
1 week.
I still lost because I just could not capitalize as quickly as Mike you would capitalize.
Yeah, and so I was like, you need to throw in the fishbone quill just to
Yeah.
just like so we can start playing 3 or 4 cards a turn.
Also, I need to throw in the fall in that deck too because I was drawing so much.
Yeah. So yeah, Matt made a Sapphire Amethyst deck with brooms. Or
No,
that's
not with broom.
not with broom, sorry.
there was a purely based around items.
Yeah. So you had Queen's Castle in it. That's what it was, right?
Yep.
And so you moved, your characters there.
No,
and
the Queen Castle was in my broom deck with
I'm getting both games confused then.
Yeah. No, the item deck was purely that because of the why the Bloodborne what that mouth name
Hiram Flaversham.
Yeah, because so I just kept bouncing. I had 2 popsicles. I just kept causing with him to draw 2 cards, and then I had Gildru put a popsicle back in my deck, and
yeah.
I just kept doing that, and I was drawing like 3 to 4 cards a turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the problem is you kept bouncing all my stuff, so I couldn't do anything with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Every time I played deck, it got back to my hand.
Yeah. So, locations, I think they're going to be great. They, like I said, it'll take the kind of an art to figure out what's the correct amount for each deck. And some of them, it'll probably be, you'll have to make the choice and say 0. But any deck with Jim Hawkins,
Yes.
it's like, that's definitely, you're going to see someone come from behind quick with that.
Yeah, I feel like locations are basically like you either want to play them for the effect, or if you have characters that like the vanilla ones are really only worth playing if you have characters that get triggered from locations.
Or if you want to punish someone who's going on a heavy control style
Yeah.
deck.
Or you think that the person you're playing against is not going to have a lot of ways to deal with all the locations.
Because if they skip a 1 drop and a 2 drop, I mean, those, and you get 2 locations out, that's 6 lore.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, and that's one thing we talk about the Bayou. Like, if we're in a multiplayer game, and you 2 don't play a character turn 1, and I'm going last, I'm gonna play Bayou if I have it in my hand at that point because I know I'm guaranteed to get low off of it when I come back around.
Yeah, it'd be interesting too. I think locations are strictly worse in multiplayer because they're just immediately
Yeah.
vulnerable. And we typically like to play our multiplayer games on Friday if there's just, the 3 of us. So it's a lot of fun. I think the game lends itself to balancing itself out when you have multiplayer of this too. So.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the puppies. How many puppies did you pull, and can I have them? I need 99 of those.
Well, Cruella. No, you're not having my puppies.
Well,
Not Perdita, not Pongo.
Well, how many of them?
Maybe Rolo.
When you guys was opening the pack, did you guys know that a normal number of the puppy? Because there's 5 different artworks for the same card, or did you guys feel like it was about the same?
I actually didn't see a lot of puppies.
Yeah,
The starter deck, obviously, because they
Yeah.
come with one of every artwork. But when I opened my booster box, I did not get a lot of puppies.
Yeah, I opened about 2.5 boxes worth of cards, and I pulled 8 puppies, and 2 of them was in the foil dropped.
Yeah, I didn't count how many I had, but I would be surprised if I had more than, 10 or 12.
And then
And for a common, that's,
Yeah, I think I actually pulled more of Lucky and Rolo than I did of just the puppy card.
yeah. Rolo or Rolly?
Which Rolly?
I think it's
Rolly.
Rolly.
It's Rolly. Yeah, I pulled more of Rolly and Lucky than I pulled of just the puppy.
But I'll also take your extra puppy cards because my daughter now has watched most of 101 Dalmatians, and she's recognizing. I mean, one, she watches Paw Patrol, so she says, "Oh, that's Marshall," which is the Dalmatian dog in Paw Patrol. But then she's like, "Oh no, it's a puppy from the movie. She's one of the puppies from the movie." And so she
So basically, what
I'm
I'm hearing is you guys are going to go into a bidding war for my puppies.
Well, also, like, the puppies actually have, because of you need that so many of them and the different artworks and how they are still, like, normal polls. Like, most of the puppies, I'm looking at them right now on TTD Play, are all about 50 cents. Like, the cheapest one right now is going for about 39.
Wow. Which is good for a common slot.
Yeah, it's
It's
great
really
for
good.
a common. It's a good for a common draw, and also, like, I want a full play set of all cards, and that's what I built to for my collection. So I'm going to need to get 99 of these things. And I'm also working on I made a rough draft for a format using the 99 puppies that I'll probably say on the show when I actually get a chance to play test it and see if it actually holds up.
Ooh, I'm excited for that. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm basing it off of like a kinematic format I know of.
So if you were to make a deck purely out of puppies, I mean not purely, but let's say like heavily themed on having more than 4 of the Dalmatian puppies in your deck, how would you make it?
They're gonna sound really bad out of the context, but puppy mill. It's a self mill deck. They're getting the puppies in the graveyard. So like, put the mom get them back out of the graveyard. Cinnabon gonna be in that gag.
The
So it's also
Cinnabon
like
card.
demon puppies. But that's it. If I were playing these puppy cards, my goal would be to get them into the deck cards.
Okay, so you would play. What color would you
It'd
do?
be
Steel with that?
Ambertail, yeah.
Okay, and so things with draw and discard, things to retrieve from the discard. Would you play Hades, or is that too slow?
Hades is too slow. So I would probably do Snow White.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll do Perdita, and then I'll do Cinnabog.
Would you make your deck like 100 cards, or would you try to
That's
still
the
keep
thing.
it?
I'll
to-
have to figure out how many I would actually need. I have to play test it.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird. This is gonna be one of those games that like you have to. And basically, if I make this deck, anytime I get a puppy, I'm just like milling this like or there's like mulligan it. Like okay, this is getting put back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. So Perdita is the one that she's a 6 cost. That when you play her, you put a character that costs 2 or less into your
And also when they quest.
and when she quests. So yeah, when you play her and when she quests, from your discard into play.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be really really interesting. Like the never ending, you can't ever kill them puppies.
Yeah, the puppy coming back from the grave.
One fun thing would be I've seen people do it, and this was more of their on the magical Christmas Dreamland kind of combo, was if you threw in Pride Lands and a Rockstar Stitch and found a way to get a king or prince on your Pride Lands, because then you're playing them for free, exerting them, drawing, and
Rock Dog Stitch would also be a really good one to throw in that deck.
let's say it's not a puppy mill, a puppy party.
Yeah.
Sounds better.
Yeah, that sounds really better. But that's it. You want heavy draw, and you want way to get them on the battlefield for free. So having the mom, playing the mom, and getting them from the graveyard free, using them to, since you don't care about them, having them in the Discord to get to the log out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the big gains.
You know, the card 99 Puppies is like an inverse of the Steal from the Rich.
Yeah.
Which both are, I think, by most competitive player standard, or like competitive players' evaluations, kind of a terrible card. Because it requires you to already have so much out on the board for both of them. But now that I'm like thinking about this, I was like, if you can somehow guarantee that they can't take out your puppies, like if you have Akita, which gets rid of everyone's strength until the next turn, or -3, and then you flood the board with these puppies, you get like 6 or 7 of them out. That's 14 lore.
Yeah, and also like Poodle, I would probably throw in, and maybe some Lantern. Cause basically, like that, you wanna. The best way to break these puppies is you have to get them onto the field cheap. Again, out of context,
break the puppies.
Out of context, it sounds bad, but you basically have to. How can you get them out? Get as many in your hand as possible. Get as many into play as possible, for as little resources as possible.
Yeah.
Cause, like, if you're actually using them, you're gonna have to go wide with them.
Mm-hmm.
Or you use them to do other triggers. So I think this is one that we might see more support of later. Because they have a puppy keyword. So we might actually see something that, like, search for a puppy. Or or put a puppy in. Or, like, rebuild your deck and have a puppy play for free. So that we could see puppy tribal. And, like, I've thrown this deck to a couple of people, and they have flat out there that they're going to get into the game. They would want to build a deck around the Dalmatian.
So actually, I just realized too, with Lucky and his ability, the second ability, Puppy Love, when this character quests, if you have 4 or more other characters in play, your other characters get +1 lore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking of like the minimum you need for a 1-turn kill or 1-turn win. You would have 3 other Dalmatian puppies?
Well,
No, 4, because you would quest with him after you play 99 puppies, and so he would quest for 2, and then the rest would quest for 3, and that would give you 4 times 12 plus 2 is 14. So that's almost a 1-turn.
and from what my experience is, if you pull that combo off one, although you're gonna win because that's gonna get you far ahead enough that your opponent is just gonna be focusing on just trying to deal with you, and all the resources are gonna go toward dealing with you to stop you from winning. So they're not really focusing on winning. So at that point, you're just playing and questing.
Yeah.
Because I played like Bell, Strange but Wonderful. That's the right.
Strange but special.
Strange but Pet.
Yeah.
And like I have been playing the beat that tapped and quest, untapped and quest. You don't need to win in 1 turn with the card. You just need to gain about 8 to 12 lore in 1 turn, and that's gonna most likely get you the win.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Now you've got 2 decks to make for this week. No.
I already had I wanted to build the Amber Teal graveyard deck, but not revolving around the puppies. And Pirate Tribal I'm gonna mess around with, and I also I made a Proton Jetsam list I was thinking about maybe trying to build.
Ooh. Yeah. Like I said, this is the most fun time, I think, when the possibilities seem endless, and obviously there are going to be best cards and worst cards that people are going to figure out.
Yeah.
But right now, when everyone's ignorant, or somewhat ignorant, you can kind of dream up these weird possibilities.
Alright. So we're gonna change the subject a little bit. So instead of actually talking about the actual game itself, we're gonna talk about some of the outside factors. mostly about some of the quality control issues. So one of the big things that a lot of people, what I saw on contrary for on Reddit, was that a lot of boxes with no legendary.
Mm,
And people, so I guess there was a bad batch, and so people were taking like commons and uncommons in the legendary drop. With that's a disappointment because you get so excited about that, you spend all this money on the card, you open up the boxes, and the pack out the package and no legendary. That gotta be so crazy.
yeah. I mean, so on an individual pack, you're never guaranteed a legendary, right? You're guaranteed 6 commons, 3 uncommons, 2 rares, and a random.
Yeah, but a lot of them weren't getting.
They weren't even getting their guaranteed rares.
Yeah, I think some of them were not getting guaranteed rares.
Yeah, some of the tropes were not getting rares. Booster packs weren't getting the rares. Booster boxes weren't getting legendaries. And some of the starter decks weren't getting some of the rare cards.
So the pack that did not have any rares, the trope that did not have any rares, and the starter deck not get any rares, Ravenberg will. You can get a hold of them, and they will help you. But I hear that's a really slow process because you all guaranteed rares. But you're right, you're not guaranteed legendaries.
Yeah.
So if you open up a whole box and hit not a single legendary,
Yeah.
there's not much they can do about it.
I would say it's probably not within their intended design of the distribution
Yeah.
for one box to have like 10 plus legendaries and another one to have 0.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some not randomness going on, more than likely, if that's
Whoa.
happening. But, if you were to do the math and you could do all the calculations, there should be some boxes that you may get a 8 or 9 or 10 legendary pull. But it also means that if you end up on the 0, it feels really, really bad. To really understand how bad the quality control is, you have to understand how many boxes, like what's our sample size. Because if there were 100,000 boxes open, that sounds like a little too much. But if there were, you would expect some of these cases to exist.
But yeah, it wasn't a thing though. But like after coming from years of playing other games, like I have not seen as many mid-print or errors as you see in other games. Like Magic, mid-print actually sell for a decent amount or mid-cut because they have pretty decent quality control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in this game, like there are a ton of people that are getting the dick card card. So for anyone listening, when they print cards, they have one that on the packaging that's a dick card for them to kick out. A lot of them times they've been leaving those in per pack, and I saw every time we see a fair number of them getting into the wild. You see a lot of mid cut. I've seen several where like when they get put in the pack and the pack gets sealed, the cards have like damage from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something like you don't see in the other big games as often as we're seeing. So you're right, like the bigger the pool, the more likely that to happen. But how small Wakanda pool is compared to the bigger companies, Wakanda seems to have a very high percentage of mid-print.
Yeah. Yeah, I think either way, if I were in Ravensburger's shoes, I would not want this to happen. I would want some sort of controlled variance. Like, yes, you want to have the times where you feel really great and you have the awesome experience when you open a box. Like, oh my goodness, I opened up 8 legendaries and most times it's 5. But you also want to limit the number of times that some people are opening 0. And just for fun, I looked at when I opened my most recent box, I looked at the serial number on the back because that's what people were saying. It's based on these serial numbers. Yeah. I typed it into Google and someone said, and this is before I opened anything, they're like, oh, this serial number was so great. I got 17 legendaries. And I was like rubbing my hands together, so excited. I opened it, I got like, I did good. I got an enchanted and 5 legendaries, and one of the legendaries was a cold foil. But, so slightly better than average. The enchanted obviously is better than average, but it falls right in line with the average of like, somewhere between 4 and 6 legendaries in a box. So, yeah. I would, if anyone's out there putting this as a counterpoint to, it's not strictly based on the serial number. There's some other information for these weird boxes.
Yeah, the serial number would give you a better idea of the print bath, and they seem to, a lot of the errors seem to happen in the bath. So my guess is probably like, who's working that day? Mm-hmm. But also, another thing is you see a lot of like variants in color. Like some cards have brighter colors than other, and then I pulled like 2 of the same cards one of them was kind of smeared a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, let me see if I can pull up a picture of that to tell you. Like, when you put them side to side, it's very obvious that one, it had more blurry text than the other one.
Hmm.
With as someone who often sell cards, it makes it giving, I pulled it from a pack, I know it's real, but if someone sees that it kind of blurry, you're like, oh, did you copy it? And blah, blah, blah. So it makes it harder for the secondhand market.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. So it's on a Madame Medusa. Yeah, man, that is that is true. It's like it's real if you buy it and you open it, but trying to convince someone else if there are forgers out there makes it a lot harder.
Which is why you have to look at the back and you have to look at the king in the corner. Because I checked the little king in the corner by the artist name, and that actually looked legit. Which is why those are the two go-to right now to check for fake cards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, this is cooking that, like, it's been about 3 sets now. I think some of it is just one Ravenbug doesn't go to a third-party printer, like Pokemon and Magic have their own printing companies.
Mm-hmm. Everything's in house.
Yeah,
much stricter quality control.
Yeah,
Probably.
so this is, and also they've been really trying to put out the quantity of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get how much and how fast, and also like this set specifically, was being printed around the time of they put for reprint for the first 2 sets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good chance that maybe these got ruts, and that might have been why we've been seeing. I feel like the other sets we had a lot of the cards, and we had the coloration issues, and we had some of the damage cuts and stuff. But this is the first one we're seeing like batches of no legendaries.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I did notice too actually 2 things. The difference between actual playable cards. In the same pack, I saw that some of the inkwell symbols were like a bluer, darker color, which is typically a sign that maybe one of the inks is running low and they're not getting as much on there. And the other one was still kind of that good kind of goldish color. The other thing that I noticed is that in only one of the boxes or sets of, or maybe it was a trove that I opened, the instruction cards had rounded edges. Every other one was a square cut, just like very rough around the edges. Like you could tell they knew that they were printing these just to throw in packs, and they were not high quality. So I don't know. It's the little things that it doesn't bother me a ton, but before I was keeping the art cards, I'm just chucking these things straight into the trash, the rule cards.
Yeah, I get them doing the rule call this way is a good way to, like, hey, there's a new king. Magic done it for a while. It's a good way to inform players of the new king. I wish it was looking that like it wasn't in every pack, and then we did have some alt cards in a few packs. Because I did like the alt cards, I did like correcting them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do hope that the next set we get the alt card in the boost packs again.
Donald.
Yeah. Give us a Donald, yeah.
I mean,
Donald.
What I did with them...
I'm gonna laugh when we get Goofy next set.
It's either gonna be Donald or Goofy.
Yeah. We had Mickey, we have Minnie, so yeah, probably gonna be one of those two. It's gonna be whichever one gets like called in that set because the first 2 were called.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. A good use of your art cards from the first 2 sets, if you have kids or nieces or nephews that you need to give them a card to play with because you're playing with cards, give them those and tell them it's a puzzle, and they'll spend at least 5 minutes trying to figure out if they're not great at puzzles, like under 3.
Right.
Hey Matt, do you need some puzzles?
No.
Give me like 15 legs. There's no legs.
Yeah, right.
There's no heads.
Oh man, just wait till they have it was actually this long play that you can assemble the artwork from 5 different sets to build this Frankenstein Mickey.
Oh my god, I would be cool with that. Okay, so next thing is official tournaments are coming this year.
Woohoo!
So we're recording this on the 5th. On the 8th of March, Hobby Toad can apply to be regional tournament host. And the way it's going to work is The regionals are going to be in April, starting on the 19th. I think George have a week, maybe 2 weeks. I gotta double check what the end date is. To run the tournament, and look, the top two are going to get a tip playmat, and the winner of the is going to get a special Rockstar tip promo enchanted card, which I'm look Juvenite. The artwork for that card is really good. It's kind of like an anime looking artwork, and I really like it.
Yeah, you can see the guitar. So Rockstar Stitch is wearing a cool, like, gold yellowish, like, Rockstar jacket, and his guitar actually has a little bit of what I would say is the amber symbol on it. It's kind of like the interweaving arches almost.
And unlike the other promo cards, this one also have a rarity next to the promo stamp. So they have the promo stamp, and then they have the enhanced stamp. With back to quality card, if you were telling that before the sale that people are saying online that some people are pulling the cards back.
Yeah, I've yet to see, like, irrefutable evidence of someone opening a pack and pulling it. But if it's true, I mean, that's going to make people who win these cards feel a little less, like they got a little less value out of it. But right now, I mean, that would be an incredibly rare find.
Yeah, and also, from what I believe, the top 4 people of these regional tournaments are gonna get invited to a national tournament, and then the top players in that national tournament get to go to a world tournament, which I think the North America and Europe are the 2 people doing tournaments this year, I believe. So I am excited about this, and I very much are going to try to get to these events and try to see how well I do.
Just take off those those days and make sure you make it to each of the tournaments that you can. Yeah, so
I'm self-employed. It's very easy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, for some people, it's easy.
I have the dates listed as April 19th through April 28th. So it gives you 10 days. It sounds like over 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So there's definitely opportunities to visit multiple stores as long as they all don't plan it on the same day. But I imagine the competition will be fierce, especially for this first set.
Yeah, my plan is, since I have family in Kentucky, is basically to like hit up towards Michigan and maybe hit up towards down there and see.
Yeah. So I think that's the only official award or reward. I
Yeah,
don't know which
the
word.
playmat and the
Prize.
card. Yeah.
Those are the only official prizes that have been listed, and I know there have been calls in the community to do more traditional. I don't even know if it's considered traditional, but more just like monetary funding to draw more competitive people.
So that normally my guess would be, it took Matic a few years before they really got to that point, and you have to. So basically, I think the championship one would be the one to have the prizes, the cash money.
Like the world.
Not maybe the world one, but the
nationals,
national one.
yeah.
The regional one that you're having George host, we don't know how many George are gonna get approved. All we know is the hobby George, group of George can apply. So we
Sure.
don't know what the requirements are yet. They have not released those. We're gonna find about those on the 8th. So we don't know if they're gonna do like one a date or if they're gonna do like how far away are they actually gonna.
Right.
Because like in all little bit of an area, we got like 3 doors in like a 30-mile radius that got approved for the hobby tour. The question is like, how big of a gap and where these doors are located are they gonna place it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you bring up a good point. Like, I think there are definitely a lot of calls for while there are a lot of people wanting there to be cash prizes, you want to make sure the timing's right. Because if the people are only there for the cash prizes, like, I guess it reminds me of what people say is like, money will solve a lot of problems, but won't solve all of them.
Yeah, and also like you have to, Ravenberg would have to be the one organizing the tournament. You don't want to go up to a store and be like, here's money to hand out, because like sometimes these stores he probably did for themselves.
Right, or put it on don't advertise well, or so that way only their own employees or something else could be the prize winners. Yeah.
Scott was telling me we won't name the store, but there was a local store that when he got promo dramatic, he would keep them for himself,
Mm-hmm.
and then later sell them. You don't it's not the best to trust all these stores with to give the stores cash prizes. So it definitely have to be a big national king. Magic, I think they have big events where they go to one major city in most states.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michigan and Detroit.
Right.
I think it's the Detroit D3 or something it's called. So something like that they would have to do. And based on what we heard from people that come to the local our local event that went to the big tournament at convention, this is Ravenburg's first time really doing big tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very quick on ramp 0 to 60 if people are calling for them to have multi-million-dollar national or world championships and stuff like that.
It's very much something that I think that it's something cat prizes a lot of people really like, and it would get people into the competitive scene. But I think at this point, if they're gonna do it, either do it at the World or do it at the Nationals.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of them having an not unlicensed, but unsanctioned, Vegas style, Texas Hold'em, where everyone just big stakes. You say there's $1,000 buy, maybe 1,000 is too much.
Well,
but $200 buy-in, max cap of 256 or 1,000 people, and just evenly split, and you draw. The organizers make money through sponsors and whatever else because you have all these people.
we've seen some cap tournaments. I think there was a big one in Florida, at a convention that was a third party organizer.
Was it cash or was it product though?
It was cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been a couple of 1K tournaments
Yeah.
Okay.
that have sprung up, but they're all third party. They're nothing by Ravensburger.
Yeah.
And the third party person who have the resources to do it can do this, and there's the audience for that. But Ravenburger themselves, they have to be a lot more cautious with it. And I think saving it for either the really big tournament or waiting down the line a couple of years for them to get the hand on actually winning tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they're doing just the card and play mat right now.
Yeah.
Exactly for that reason. They're just really getting into TCG tournaments now. Ravensburger has never had a TCG before Lorcana. So this is just them slowly getting into the water. They're building, and I think we're gonna see those big cash tournaments down the line. I'm glad right now we're not starting with them though.
And also, I really like how they hand out playmats. So, that was something I, with the organized play kit that we got with playmat to hand out. Because when I was running Legend of the Five Wing, the living card game event, they had playmats in their organized play kit. And their big tournament gave out unique playmats. And so it was kind of fun to show up, and people would be like, "Oh man, I wanted that play mat, but I lost in that mat," or what they did was Legend of Five Wings had was big on crayons, and so everyone played different crayons, and if you would the best of your crayon at a tournament, you got a unique title and play mat. And so when you show up and you see your opponent have one of those play mats, and you see them playing that crayon, you're just like, "Oh, this is gonna be a rough mat."
Yeah. How many different clans were there?
In Legend of Five Wings, there are 7 clans.
Okay. So.
The 7th clan, and then you have the royal family, but they were more of a neutral in the game.
Yeah, I think the winners playmats are definitely going to be very fun to see, and it's a non-playable prize, so I don't know. I don't imagine that they're going to resell for a ton, but maybe...
No, they will.
They think
will.
so?
Oh, yeah.
They
will go for a lot.
Now, the tournaments that group of prizes, they sell for a lot.
Wow, okay.
The L5R one, which is a very niche community, went selling for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Guess I'm for me it's always a little weird because I'm like, well, I can't actually play with it. I can play on it, but it doesn't affect
I think it comes down to the fact that there's going to be so few of these
Yep.
Right.
compared to how many players are actually playing the game, that those diehard collectors where I have to have everything, they're gonna pay whatever it takes to get a copy of that
Yep.
in their hands.
So like if I get it, like they make playmat protectors that get mounted on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that playmat going if I win it. Like
Yeah.
I mounted on my wall. And that's it. They 100% getting graded.
Yeah. They grade playmats too.
I don't know about playmat, but the
card.
card is
Yeah,
100%
yeah.
getting graded if I can get my hands on one of those. Yeah, I'm excited. So like the first two sets, I have not been paying attention to the meta, but now it's at the point where like we're starting to have the big tournament, and that's something I have always really wanted. I have done local tournaments at Soul, but I never really got tried to like the really big event in other games. This is the game I would really want to try doing the big event, and the big tournament look really fun, and because I've gone to like a few very big events for other games, and they're just really fun. You meet a lot of interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
In between matches, like it's fun to hang out with people, and like I have made friends that way going to events and stuff. So like I'm really excited to do more with the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that will be really fun. You know, I think back to the times that I went to like Magic pre-releases when I was a kid, and just how much fun it was to be like, oh, there's this many people that play this game,
Yeah.
and like we're all having fun playing these new cards. I never got back like into the Pro Tour qualifiers or anything like that. I had some other friends who have, and I think part of it seems like a lot of fun, the competition, but part of me is also sometimes turned off by the people who are so hyper competitive that they start doing things like that aren't necessarily against the rules, but also maybe kind of shady.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things that I think the game designers in Magic have been. Oh, I'm sorry, the game designers in Volcana. This is our second podcast we recorded tonight. I think it very much that they have done a decent enough job with balancing the cards that I don't hate this meta, which is one of the main reasons why I stopped playing Magic, is because I really hated what that meta devolved into, or like when I tried to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta is ridiculous right now. But it's part of the reason why Yu-Gi-Oh! Having a format where like, hey, we're not gonna go back to 2005 and only play with cards from 2005.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited about the tournament, and we'll keep you listeners updated on any news going on with those. But to give you listeners a heads up, our recording schedule that we are aiming for is to record 2 episodes at a time every other week. So our news may not be super current and fresh, but to give you guys a heads up. Anyway, the call of the week is Puppies Flute.
All right. Matt, do you want to read it, or
You mean Ka?
sorry, Scott? I was looking
Again,
at.
this is where we come into the two sessions a night.
I looked directly at Scott and I was like, Matt, do you want to read it?
Sleepy's Flute. It is a 2 non-inkable card. It is an item in the Amethyst set, and it ability is a silly song. Tap this card, and if you played a song this turn, you gain 1 lore.
All right. It is also rare. I think you meant amber, not amethyst.
It's Amber.
Again,
Okay,
It's late.
I think we need to start chugging caffeine in between
Right.
the breaks.
so I actually chose this card for the card of the week, and
I wondered where this card
Yeah.
came from.
I chose it because it's an interesting card. When it came out, people related it to other cards in other games that are generally less interactive. So typically, cards in Lorcana, specifically characters, when you use them, they become interactable with by your opponent's characters. This, because it's an item, it's a lot harder to deal with, and progresses your win condition, gaining a lore per turn if you've sang a song. So I think it's interesting to have cards like this and to kind of give players alternate win conditions, even though it's still 20 lore, but it's also not just questing to get lore.
Yeah, and I like how this encouraged playing songs. And like the first 2 sets, song decks have been very prevalent in the meta, and a lot of the tournaments and stuff we have seen. Like the top players are either one of the top decks is always a song deck. So that and kind of unique to Wakana. I really like how they play, and so it is nice to see them supporting their own songs that actually make them playable.
Yeah. This card came out. Was this first chapter or was this
Second.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Rise of the Bloodborne. Yeah. So, yeah, I think when it came out, it saw a big, and you can look at price history. It saw a big spike in price in the first when the first tournaments came out around beginning of December, with the second set, and then it has since declined, and that's because I think people started to realize that while this is a fun card, it's the uninkability can be a pain, and it's also just it's a card that is it's great if you have the things that work for it, but it can also be a dead draw. It can be because it relies so much on other cards. It's not self-sufficient.
Yeah, and also like when I have an item that's non-inkable, like I'm not playing full copies of it because like if I draw them all, I'm not gonna have 4 in the field. So this is a card that could benefit from having 4 in the field.
That's because you're not brave enough, Matt.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not brave enough. But also, when you're talking about price dropping, I know that too in general, because of how more readily available that was. Like the card had a huge spike in price the first weekend because everyone was buying them because a lot of people prefer buying singles instead of buying boxes. We saw a huge spike, and then the second set that did not retain value as well. And I think that because a lot of people were just able to buy packs. So there was more cards on the market, and people that bought it quickly.
Yeah. Scott, you want to tell us about this movie that this is from?
Comes from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm torn on this, simply because it's just an item. It's just they plucked an item straight from the movie. You saw them playing instruments. They had the little jamboree in one of the scenes. So for me, it's just like it's there. It doesn't evoke anything really from the movies. Whereas like the Dreamborn, the Floodborn character cards, you're relating them back to the movies. This is just, it was in the movie.
Yeah. It was not a pivotal.
Yeah,
Didn't play a pivotal role.
It was in one, maybe 2 scenes of just them having fun.
They didn't beat the queen with the music.
Yeah, it wasn't like
They didn't sing their way to victory.
like the other cards we've looked at. You could see it play out throughout the movie, or it tied into more of the story. It was there.
But like I feel like it is a really good card, and but the fact that like you can so like what are you talking about, like getting caught for the item. So like you tap in a character, you get the effect of the card, you tapped it, you get the law. So like it makes playing the songs and the singing deck so useful, and you get so much value out of it. And then depending on what it is, you still have ink to play with.
Yeah, that's the one great thing about singing songs is that it gives you an alternate cost. Instead of paying the cost for the card, you can exert one of your characters, which again, when things are free, that's when things get broken.
And then now with the Sapphire card that untapped items,
Audrey Ramirez.
Yeah, so I think Amber Sapphire gongs would have a lot of good gongs. I think they're gonna benefit well from that deck. And you king a Kong, you untap Fruit, you king another Kong, you get him more lore.
Yeah.
I think that's it for this week. Next week, call of the week is Kira, Protector of Atlantis. Did I pronounce that right?
Kita.
Kira, Protector of Atlantis.
So, killer art. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening, and see you next time in Lenses in the Ink.